Hey there, it's Corey with Ascend Smarter Intervention, and I'm so excited to go through vocabulary and morphology with you guys today. So we love the literacy processing triangle. Hopefully, if you've been around with us long enough, you know that we are obsessed with this. If not, then definitely go and check out the training on using the literacy processing triangle to come up with effective ideas for your literacy intervention. So we're going to start with vocabulary, and we're going to jump into our vocabulary graphic organizer. And we're going to have a lot more vocabulary things coming for you guys soon, so be on the lookout for that. But what we really like to do in our intervention is we like to talk with students about making sure that they're really confident in the words that they're using. This is important because sometimes they may not understand the shade of the meaning, or sometimes they may not understand a part of speech, and therefore they wouldn't know how to use it appropriately in a sentence. So when we're thinking about vocabulary instruction and morphology instruction, really what we need to be doing is understanding whether or not our students can truly put together sentences that make sense, and that we can change the verb tense and we can change the meaning of those words through morphology. So the most basic level of that is we need to understand if students really understand the words that they are using. And so sometimes we can select words, even really familiar words, and have them run through this activity. So we want to know if they can place the word into a category. Sometimes this is really challenging, and so one of our defaults is that we will say something like, a ball is a thing, right? So it's a noun. Sometimes you might run into things where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm certain I know what this is, but I'm really struggling to define it in these terms. Well, it's important that we go through that activity to be able to do that. So a ball is a thing that rolls or flies through the air. It's similar to a sphere, but it's not like, oh my goodness, I had a student the other day say, but it's not like a grenade, right? So a grenade might be something that's round, that flies through the air, but it's not like that. So that was kind of an interesting antonym that he selected there. Sometimes when we're doing that antonym piece, we're not always getting a complete opposite. Sometimes what we're trying to do is actually have them come up with a shade of meaning, so something that sounds similar to something else. For example, hatchet. Hatchet is a tool that cuts or chops. It's similar to an axe, but it's not like scissors. So again, we're not getting a complete antonym there, but what we are getting is we're getting a shade of meaning. So, scissors are another tool that cuts, and that's just a good way to make sure that we're all talking about the same thing. And then we can get some defining features. So for example, for a hatchet, a defining feature might be it has a short handle as opposed to a long handle like an axe. We do have some examples here for you so that you can take a look at that. But we do find this really important, and you would be surprised to see that even some of your highly verbal students will really struggle with that. So that's one thing. So we're going to go ahead and close out of that. Goodness me, we're going to pull back up to this guy. Then what we can do is we can go ahead and skip. We're going to skip one more time because we're not going to talk about red words today. And we've got we call this the Smarter Intervention Curriculum Supplement because we use this alongside the Smarter Intervention Curriculum, but you absolutely don't have to. You can use this with whatever curriculum that you're using as well. But what we do want to do is we want to make sure that students have some explicit exposure to these prefixes, these suffixes, and the activities that go alongside of that. So we align this, lesson 1 with our lesson 1, but you definitely don't need to. Sometimes, you may want to teach all of your phonograms and then come back and grab these pieces as well. So we're going to teach those in a very similar way to the way that we teach our phonogram. So we're going to very explicitly teach all of the different pieces with that. So when do we add S? When do we add ES? Let's practice that with our floss words. Let's talk about suffix ing. When do we use it? Why do we use it? we just find this super helpful and important to be teaching. And so this is just another activity that you can be adding into your instruction. So hopefully that helps. Again, we're going to be adding a lot more things. We also have some Greek and Latin roots, which are just another fun activity that sometimes we add on that helps students really think about word meaning and things like that. So if you have any questions, jump in the group, let us know.